Welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast. Best of the best is my goal in each and every episode. Today, I think I have one of the great inspirational agents in the house. I've known her for almost 5 years now. She's built her business one customer at a time. A single mom of 3 amazing boys. She works extremely hard with her family, her church, and her real estate business. She recently moved her business to Engel Völkers here in Jacksonville. Hopefully, we'll find out why. Let's welcome the legacy of the Christela Legacy Group, Christela Amonkou, to the show.
Thank you.
I actually put Christela Legacy. I don't know what I was thinking there. I realized when I was reading that's not correct. I did pronounce your last name correctly.
You did. Amonkou, absolutely.
Excellent. So we've done some deals over, and I've watched you slowly grow. And I tell you, one of the things I hopefully will tip on, and I put in my notes here, you are working the social media.
Yes.
Very positive message, and I know you're very involved in your church. So I want to hear how you work that circle of influence as well. Hopefully, it's worked into your business, helping your fellow parishioners out. So, but let's start off the show. Where are you from?
Well, I am originally from Haiti, and I've been here for over 20 years. I came to Jacksonville in 2005. UNF brought me here, went to the University of North Florida, and I kind of got stuck here. I have to say I love it. And I'm originally from Haiti.
So was it a special program, or you just wanted to go to college in the States? You said
I
did.
UNF
brought you here.
There was kind of like a back and forth. So as an immigrant, we came, of course, to Miami, and then I went to high school in Coral Springs High School, and then was searching for, college time came, and I said, it's time to start college. So I went to New Jersey, and I went to Raritan Community College, and I did not like the cold, did my 2 years there, and then needed to get back to Florida.
Yes.
And so UNF accepted me, so that got me here in Jacksonville.
Well, there are a lot of Haitians that obviously go to New York City and so forth.
Yes.
And I can imagine, that the total climate difference.
Definitely. It's wherever you have family and support. And I did have it there. However, I did not like the cold weather. I think a blizzard brought me back.
Don't blame you. Grew up there. Spent my first 20 years of my life in the Northeast. So, all right. So you go to UNF. What are you studying there? And do you have a vision of something you want to do, or as a young person, what are you envisioning yourself as a career?
So I went to UNF, and I gotta say, I was one of those people that kind of tried everything. At some point, I wanted to be a nurse. My family will tell you I wanted to be a nurse. I played a violin as a young child, so I wanted music. And it kind of worked. I do.
Oh, cool.
And it kind of worked out to it. At the end of the day, I was like, business administration, I've already had all the courses. Let me do this. And I had my bachelor's in science and business administration. However, one of the courses that I took at UNF was real estate. And it spiked something in me there. And after I graduated from UNF, you kind of start applying for work, and my opportunity went into banking, so kind of solidified that real estate class that I had.
Right. Yeah, I saw on your LinkedIn some of your first positions were actually in operations department.
Yes.
For lending side, processing, and then into underwriting.
Yes.
Right.
I did processing for a long time with different vendors, and then loved it. I was able to get promoted multiple times and work with different hybrid, high-end clients with the different vendors, and I loved it.
So you don't even go into medicine? Nursing at all. You don't even touch that.
No.
You got right in there, started tasting. So what were some of the things? So you were, I think it was roughly about 6 or 7 years you were doing that in the operations department. What starts to give you the flavor to real estate? What?
So I have to say this,
getting to the other side, going to the other
side.
Yeah.
So as a processor, you get to see, even underwriting, I did that part as well. You get to see the financing side of a lot of people. Like I said, I got a chance to work with high-end clients. And, I think one day I was sitting at my desk and I saw a gentleman that was about my age, and he did the same thing I did as far as going to college and get a business administration degree. And I'm looking at his wealth. I was looking at his network. And the common part was houses. and a lot of those clients that would come in, I hated underwriting for this point because I had to look at
yes.
7 houses in Schedule, what was it, Schedule D? And I was just like, oh, how many houses does this man have to have?
Yes, do we have all the expenses in there?
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
So, but it spiked something in me because I'm looking at there's a difference. Here I am working every day. I'm getting my paycheck, but this gentleman here has so many homes, and his network was high enough to where I was able to service him because I was in the high network group.
Right.
So that was the common denominator with all these clients, and I was like, I'm doing something wrong. There was something in me. I wanted to build generational wealth for my children. I wanted to build for my family. So I said, I'm in the war. I need to start looking into that aspect of life.
So it kind of really expanded your, I imagine as a young just graduate, as I can imagine most graduates today aren't even envisioning buying their first home, but because of your first jobs there in that 5 or 6, 7 years, you start to expand your horizon on, hey, this guy can do it, I can do it. You start seeing more of what real estate is. I think too many, I make this statement because when I had Sarah Rocco on, she made a great statement about, she was only in the business a couple of months before she went to a convention, and it opened her mind. And that just made me think of some of the things that I've done and expanded my vision of, the mortgage world and lending. But for you understood, and as all these great Grant Cardones, they all say real estate's in their portfolio somewhere. And you actually are seeing it. So one thing when someone tells you about it,
right,
and when you actually see it, you're like, oh, yeah, I want to dig a little further. Yeah.
Yes, we need to look a little further and seeing how could I apply this, or how could I help others that may not have that knowledge to get to that position.
So who introduces you to the agent side and draws you out of the operations?
So I said to myself, so here I am, young graduate. I got this really great job opportunity, and I'm working, and we started training. And I think it was 6 months in, there was a layoff. And that broke my heart. And I didn't get the shoulder touch, right? And I say to myself, the day I get the touch on the shoulder, I am not going to work for anybody anymore.
Right.
And you know what? It took 10 years before they did that. I think I was expecting it too much.
Right.
And it took 10 years. And then finally I got the touch on the shoulder. And I remember walking out of the building, feeling like a deep breath. I didn't know what direction I was going to go, but I knew that I did not want to go back and apply for another, W-2 position. I needed to do something for myself, as I've seen it on paper for all the other people.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling you're relating to, and you have to, I don't know if you had someone, a mentor in your life at this point was saying, okay, now, because you really want to dig deep at this point. How do I want to, I got 10 years of experience. You had, roughly under your belt that time. And, what do you want to do and how do you want to do it?
Right.
And because one thing I think you could agree with, our business, we kind of live in real estate. You live our business. It's not a 9-to-5 deal.
Absolutely
and
not.
You've got to enjoy doing it. And when someone calls you, you got to get excited. Hey, I want to go, even if it's Saturday morning and you're like, oh, I don't have anything going on. I'm going to go take the boys somewhere. And then someone calls you and says, hey, I want to go see this house. You got to get excited about that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we have to learn to live our business. So was that kind of a little soul searching that you had to do?
It definitely was. I knew I didn't want to go into something where I wanted to be available. In the midst of it, I think I got the touch on the shoulder in the worst time of my life, I got to say. Yeah. When I was ready for it, it didn't happen. When I wasn't ready, it did happen. So this was also the timing where, I have been separated with my ex-husband and I'm raising 3 boys and we're going, there's anger there in me and there's, and I wanted to be available. That was always being a priority for me. I wanted to be that mom that was available for her kids.
Right.
I wanted to be in their soccer practice or their games and just be involved in their life. That was my main thing. And I remember after getting the tap on the shoulder and having no direction, I took like a 30-day quiet time, soul search, and say, God, what is it that you want next for me?
Exactly.
And so doing that 30-day, I tell people all the time, hey, listen, I'm a Christian, so I talk about God all the time, so I'm sorry if this is not allowed. But
it's
I did
allowed.
sit quietly,
Encouraged.
and I did hear the voice that tell me, Christela, it's real estate and education.
Yeah.
Those were the 2 things that I heard. And I remember getting off my bed from like a depression state and saying, I heard you. And then now you need to guide me to get it done.
You have to, I think in some of the great people that we read or do motivational things now using social media and stuff, a lot of them tell you they take that time that mediate or just quiet time to themselves and let their mind, whether they might go walking and just let their mind clear it out.
Yes.
And that quiet time. And like you said, he spoke to you. There's no, if you give him time, he will, because it's one thing if if he came down to us in front of us, which he's not going to do,
yes,
and actually say it out in words where you can hear it in a room.
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
Yes.
And you have to take the time, and sometimes you have to hear him tell you 3, 4, 5 times.
Right.
Or put you in a predicament, as you said, you were in a rough time, that it draws you, it makes you rise to the occasion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself, I hear you, now make it happen. So I just took a drive, and next thing I know, I saw a sign that says real estate classes, sign up. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up.
Amen.
And it worked out my whole career. I think if I tell people to do exactly what I did, it may not happen the same way.
Right, no.
But it was just that for me. I can tell you, it was real estate and education.
So you go, I assume you just take the crash course for 7 days or whatever it is?
I did. So I did sign up online. I took the class online. And then, of course, being, an underwriter, loan processor, almost half of the stuff you already know.
You know the lingo.
Yes, you know the language, exactly, terminology. So when I did my class, I think I took 30 days, literally. I went and I took the class. As I said, I was mentally not in a great place. So I remember when I went to take my class, I went to take the state test, and walked in there, and then I got some bad news right as I was entering. And I was like, oh my gosh, why? I walked in there and I'm taking the test and I know the answers.
Right. And
but my personal issues were just taking the drive. And I remember walking out thinking, I did not pass. And I'm pretty sure I did not pass. And the lady looked at me and said, you did not pass. And I said, lady, what do I need to do? Can I take it again? She said, no, you have to wait 2 weeks. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I said, where do I need to go? Then she told me Gainesville.
Okay.
There's a test tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I said, I'm going. And that's what I did. I did not open a book.
So you took it 2 days in a row. And
I just went to Gainesville the next morning after I drive my kids to school. And I took the test. I walked out dancing because I knew I passed.
Right.
And so, that's my story.
That's cool. So this is what, 2000?
This was 2017, 18. Yeah.
Okay. So the brokers are calling you.
Oh, yeah.
They start blowing up your phone.
Yes.
What, and if you want to mention your brokerage, I always leave that open. Some people don't want to mention their past brokerage because somebody might be upset about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But what makes you choose that brokerage?
So I knew that as a loan processor underwriter, I've always worked with companies that were big in training. And I watch it. I watch when the companies had time to train agents or train their employees, how much the result was a lot better. So in interviewing places, I wanted a company that had a great training plan. And honestly, I have nothing bad to say about Berkshire Hathaway. That was their focus. The training for new agent, it works. And so I felt that they were gonna do that for me, and I signed up with them. It was really solely about the training and the support.
So was that like a 90-day boot camp, or that every new agent, this is what your schedule is for the next 90 days type?
There's been so many changes. I can't recall specifically, but I knew that it was something you had to commit. You had to be a full-time agent. You had to commit a 9 to 2 schedule, Monday to Thursday, and you did the training. You did the training.
Right. So many brokerages claim to train.
Yes.
I said something, I don't know, a while back. I said, I asked the question about brokers. I said, but don't tell me about their education, because every one of them will sit down with you and tell you how great their training is, their technology. They're all great, right? And the lenders even fall into that category as well. but you really got to take the time. In this case, it sounds like, they stepped up to what they were claiming.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Because did you know anyone that was a real
I
estate
did
agent that
not.
you consulted in or anything?
No, I did not know anyone that worked there. Matter of fact, I did actually. I take that back. I did know someone, and I called that person to say, "Hey, I know you with this company. Tell me a little bit."
Right.
And the response I got is, "Oh, I give up on real estate. I don't really want to do real estate anymore."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, that's not a good answer." Now, my mindset going into real estate has always been, this is a business. This is not something I'm trying. Failure was not an option for me. I remember I had 3 boys that I was raising, and I needed the financial support for them, and so failure was not an excuse. So I know I couldn't commit myself with any brokerage that were gonna false promise me training, and then it didn't happen.
Yes.
So that was important. Again, going to that quiet mode and hearing the voice inside of you that says, okay, this is the right move. And that's what happened. That was the right move for me.
It sounds like just by your own desire in looking for that, you knew that was important. Would you agree or disagree that there's a lot of agents that don't even have that, like your mindset was, I've worked in corporate America, I'm looking for that company that is, and national, has a support, will have those training programs, or some just go out and they talk to a bunch of brokerages. And I personally feel the reason why 80% of them drop out, a good percentage of that 80%, is because they choose the wrong brokerage that doesn't match with them.
Correct.
And what their needs are.
Correct. And I can tell you, my old broker would testify to this. When I walked in her office, I had an interview sheet. I was interviewing them.
Yes.
And I had questions that fit my business plan.
So they actually encouraged you.
I had my business plan set up, and I had a list of questions. And if they didn't answer it the way I was, because this is my business, this is my future, failure is not an option.
Right.
If you did not answer it correctly, I know to move on to the next one.
That is so forward thinking, because I've talked about it and I bring it up almost on every podcast, how important it is for the agent to interview the broker.
Yes.
The broker does want to know some, because they want to bring in quality people that aren't going to drain them. But it is more important that you fit with the broker than the broker needs to know. That the broker's not hiring you, not putting you on a salary,
Correct.
they're not giving you benefits.
Correct.
They're providing a value, but you need to make sure that value fits you, because
Correct.
there's as many as there are brokerages, there's that many ways of doing this business.
Yes, correct. And this is your business, how you plan on running it. Can they meet those needs? And if they can, yes, sign with them. If they cannot, interview somebody else.
Right. Very, very important to really, reach out. Someone listening right now might be thinking about being an agent, or might be someone who's just started at one of these brokerages that aren't adding value to them.
Correct.
Reach out to some of the top people. Reach out to Christela and say, hey, can we have coffee? I'm thinking about being an agent, but I want to fit with the right brokerage, because you don't want to bounce around brokerages. Although I think a lot of agents reach a lid at certain brokerages that they need to move to the next step. But you hopefully can choose the right one first.
Correct.
You're hopefully going to stay in the business. You choose the wrong one, you have a high percentage. You're going to be one of those 80% that don't ever make it.
Yes, it's discouraging. It's discouraging going somewhere without a plan, and then them not meeting your expectation. Then you're gonna go over. It's discouraging.
If you think about when you were there doing that interview, what were some of the questions that maybe they had on there that obviously resonated with you? It's like, I need to, or did you add? What were a couple of things that you needed to know for you?
One of the things was training. I think I mentioned that. I needed training. Even though I knew the terminology, I studied the book and I understood it, but I needed the training. How do I speak with clients? How do I overcome obstacles?
Right.
So these were important. After the training is over, a lot of us know we go to training and we forget half the stuff when we're in the real world. What is it? Can I have one-on-one with my broker if I needed to?
Right.
Sit down and ask questions. Can I come to your office and cry if I need to. Cry of joy and cry of, this business is not easy.
No, it's not.
Sometimes we have a hard deals and we need to cry. Will you be available for me when I'm
I wonder
crying?
if they offer that at the broker level, the psychology 101,
Exactly.
mediation or consultation.
And motivation, people have different key motivation. What's your motivation?
Right.
And is that broker going to motivate you to go to the next level?
Right.
So all those were questions that I had on my list.
So you get started.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a quick start? I mean, did you get a couple of deals? Because I imagine you have 3 boys at home to feed.
Yes.
So how do you make it through to get this thing up and running?
I had to say I had a false expectation, and this was something that I had to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I was gonna get my real estate license, sell $1 million house, and then I was gonna get back on track with my finances, because I was falling behind.
Right.
And I was gonna get back on track. Yeah, that's easy breezy, right? But when I started and I'm learning, I remember one of the training class, one of the trainers said, this is going to be a J curve. So, you're going to go under before you go up.
Okay.
And I remember thinking to myself, I'm
and you were
already
almost under when you started.
I'm already under. What do you mean? There's no more, down for me.
Right.
And trust me, it went down. it went down. And my first deal wasn't until 6 months. And it was a $65,000 deal. My paycheck was so discouraging. Right. But I kept pushing. I kept pushing. I just knew this was a career that would allow me to name my income.
Right.
This is
unlimited as much as you
exactly
possibly could do.
I can say I'm gonna make up the income that I had when I was working in the banking industry. Or if I want more, I can go more,
Right.
So I knew there was something there. Again, another thing that was important for me in a brokerage is being associated with other people that are doing it.
Yes.
So that I can be inspired by them. And so that was if they can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. Exactly. You need to see that it is actually being done.
Yes.
We were talking on Monday with the cotton team and one thing that with them they talk about we're out there doing it with the agents that are on the team because some of these brokers, they are sitting in their office and they tell you to go do something, but they haven't actually sold a home in years. And you need to be engaged with those who are actually out there doing it because they're failing forward. They're, I think since 17, obviously, the last 24 months, I guess, if you want to expand it to now, to the market we're kind of in now, to what it was just a year ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to change your game.
Yeah.
What you're doing. Where's the knowledge? Like, who in the world would have predicted that you're going to get 25 offers on a home?
Right.
And how do you handle that? And how do you prepare, yet still add value to the seller who thinks you can just, you're just going to put it up on the MLS, you'll get offers and you'll tell me which one's best. I don't need to pay you all that money.
Correct.
You have to, how do the top agents still continue to add value? But also, I think the other thing too, some of those agents who have been around a little bit, you're in this market, but you got to be prepared for the next market.
Yes. And
what are you doing? And what are those basic steps that you should be doing? I was talking last week with Paige Wiseman and doing a listing. And, you need to, even though you're going to get 20 offers in 15 minutes, you still need to go through the steps and add value
to what you're doing. Yeah.
Because those other people seeing you do it, hopefully you're going to call you, and that might be 2 years from now. And you don't want them to think that you're just a stick it on the MLS person.
Exactly. Yeah. And that sticks with you. It's kind of like a resume or your property that you sold, the pictures that you post online with you have a property on the market. People will not remember this was a bad market. This was a good market. They're going to see the picture, the style that you have. Your marketing style is in what you put on the MLS.
And that stuff is up there forever.
Yeah.
I mean, now on social media, you Google that address and it's going to have the pictures that whoever took them 3 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last ones that were taken. What were some just some couple maybe some early mistakes that you made? It sounds like you got lucky with the brokerage. Your heart looked for it and it found it for you. So you were comfortable there. But what were some things that you, if you look back and said, man, if I just did this, I wouldn't have waited 6 months for my first sale?
I had a missed opportunity, which is something that right now I am so big on. It was just missed opportunity. Like I said, my mindset was I'm gonna get my license, I'm gonna get rich quick, right?
Right.
And it didn't happen because I was looking for the $1 million deals. I was looking for, doing open house and high end.
Which in
Where there
17 was rare.
right.
Today, not so hard to
Not
get
so
there.
hard,
but
right?
Yeah,
But
17.
so my eyes were focused on that, and I think that if I could do it again, I would probably just focus on working my sphere, walking neighborhood, looking at a certain price point, just so I can have some deals in the book, so that I wasn't just so focused on that high end.
So, and this is a common theme that I hear a lot of the top agents: don't be focused on the dollars.
Correct.
Be focused on the basic steps that they're telling you to do, work your sphere, and that sort of thing. And it's the common thing I'm seeing in the motivational reels and stuff that we get on social media. You have to love the journey.
Yes.
Because if you're just focused, in your case, you were lucky because initially you were focused on the dollars.
Yeah.
And you stayed with it, where a lot of people were focused on the dollars would have quit long before 6 months.
Correct. Yeah. Again, failure was not an option for me, so that wasn't something I could have done, whether there was any deal coming in or not. But I would say there was a lot of missed opportunity there that I kind of, then I started focusing, let me see, what's my niche? Who's approaching me and really asking me about real estate? Am I ignoring them? What, maybe I need to be educating. Again, there comes the education piece. Those people, and get them to understand why homeownership is important. So that part was, I had some missed opportunity at the beginning during that 6 months wait period.
So you brought up education. I would imagine at the time, whatever Berkshire Hathaway threw out there, you were absorbing.
Absolutely.
What are other places that you enjoy going? In this question is specifically about real estate. I mean, do you regularly visit the real estate board and take as many classes? Where do you absorb your real estate knowledge?
There is just so many things out there. I tell people all the time, when it comes to real estate, it's loud, especially on social media, right? So it's knowing where to go and get the proper training, always learning. You get me, I'll close off some time in my calendar and I'll just decide, let me just take this course about how to use this system so that I can bring some information to my clients. Right. So I use MLS trainings. I use, Northeast Florida Realtor training. I take courses and then getting myself more knowledgeable. And then, of course, I had a brokerage that I still do have a brokerage right now that is very big in training. So whatever information is out there that's available, I'm going to take some quiet time and do it.
It's a common theme of every, your episode 84 of the roughly 75 agents that I have on. Education is a big part of it. And you have to, whether you're getting a loan company sponsoring it at the title company, which we commonly get at Landmark. And, there's something going on there. There's NEFAR. There's something you could go to every week easily if you want to block off a couple hours every week to learn. Yeah. But just like we're calling and trying to schedule appointments to meet with people and, you're going to spend so many hours a day marketing today or whatever, that type of thing that goes right. You have to insert education.
Absolutely.
Into
you
that weekly
cannot
schedule.
Ignore training.
Right.
And training with the guidelines, things that are changing. We have a flexible market now. Become the expert. We took our license, and one of the things I'm passionate about is that we are helping clients in their biggest decision, their biggest investment. And I pride myself in saying, I'm not just your real estate agent, I'm your advisor. So that means I'm going to show you the benefit of homeownership, right? I can't do that if I'm not training myself. I can't do that if I don't understand the market.
Right.
In order for me to understand it, I have to sit in the training. I have to go to my company meetings. I have to learn from my broker. I have to learn from different sources that are giving me the right information. And then share.
You may spend 10 hours a month educating, or I often talk, whether you go to an event and you might be a 2-day event, and you might sit there and listen, and out of that, you get 10 minutes. That's something you can add to your business.
Absolutely.
And some people, I'm going to go there. I might get one new idea. One new idea.
Yes.
If it adds another 2 or 3 homes to your yearly production. Yeah. I mean, calculate the dollars in that.
Yeah,
is that
absolutely
worthwhile to go? I think a lot of people miss out on that part. And obviously, no one likes to go sit in school for 8 hours. But the great thing in adults is we have these nice trainings, and generally they'll feed you.
Online. There's also a lot of online training now too.
Yes.
COVID kind of, changed the way we do training.
Right.
And we have Zoom trainings. There's so many. Education. Any new agents out there, that's what I would say. Take time to educate yourself.
Your recommendation, any agent out there, if they're not already doing it, is they need to build in their calendar every month or every week that they're going to spend so much at whether they're going to watch an online video or just take an online course, go to NEFAR, and not just go to NEFAR just for the
continuing education.
I mean, you should continually be taking those courses in every course they offer.
Yes.
Why not? I mean, you're paying for it as a member, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you might as well go there and get as much. Because would you agree? Not knowing much. You mentioned something just a few minutes ago. I'm going to bring this all around. Confidence, and then, like you said, when you're talking to someone about why they should buy a home, or consulting them on home buying, when you have this, you're full of the knowledge, you just sound better.
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of my referrals that are coming from clients that have done business with me, one of the things they'll always say, this girl, she knows what she's doing. And that's that. It didn't come easy. It didn't come from just my knowledge in the mortgage industry.
Right.
But I had to take some time and learn the real estate side of the business and learn how it is a benefit for you to be a homeowner. If you're selling, how do you present your home? All that, she knows what she's doing is the key word. They'll say, she knows what I'm telling you. This is the one.
So similar on the same line as education, we were fine-tuning that as education real estate, but what do you do to work on you, Christela? What are you doing to work on, I know you read the book, so from that standpoint.
Well, the book.
Yeah.
I read the book, and one of the big training that I went to is a ninja selling training. And I will talk about it as till I turn blue, because I think it's such a great training.
Ninja, was this is not related to Berkshire Hathaway. This is just
it absolutely was introduced to me from them, but ninja selling is out there for anyone who wants to take it. So what we learn how to wake up feeling grateful. This is something you naturally do. When you pray in the morning, but you wake up feeling grateful. You wake up thinking about somebody else other than yourself, right? And so you start doing the action. And I'm very big on affirmation. And you wake up in the morning and you enjoy something. You enjoy doing something for your family. So doing affirmation and listen to positive motivation does help you get in a better mindset. From church recently, my pastor mentioned, people talk about inflation, people talk about, recession and stuff like that.
Right.
But I do believe no matter what the market does, I am going to be successful.
Right.
So I don't look at the negative that's being taught, because I know no matter what, I'm going to be successful. So my focus is on my success.
100%. I'm seeing that a lot in the different reels or the podcasts I'm listening to. You've got to wake up and feel grateful, have a positive, thank God that he's given me another day. And you got your boys and the great things that they're doing, and you have to, because people are attracted to the positivity.
Correct.
If you turn on that news and hear the same story that you heard at 11 o'clock when you went to bed on the news, because they're just constantly repeating themselves, they're beating it into you, the negativity on a daily basis. That's my perception of it. You have to just, if you want to poke in there every once in a while and see what's going on, but you cannot spend or overwhelm your day watching the news, as well as overwhelm yourself on your phone and Facebook.
Well, I will
Because
tell
there's a
you
lot of
this.
negativity
This
there.
has always been, the way I was raised.
Mhm.
My parents were business owners in Haiti. And my dad always said, if you wake up one day and you don't feel like you have anything to be grateful for,
Mhm.
and you look at, you have a depressing mindset, you just don't feel like everything is going wrong
Right.
in your life,
Right.
and you walk in and you find a quarter on the floor, take that quarter and go shine your shoes. That's what Dad used to, he said that go shine your shoes, make yourself feel good.
Yes.
Get yourself in a better position.
Yes.
So that you can help others.
I don't know anyone that hears that alarm goes off and goes, yes.
Yes. Go shine your shoes.
You have to change your mindset. So is there anyone that you follow, whether it's a podcast or an author? Are you following anyone or reading anyone right now? Who do you?
I'm very big with Keep Current Matters.
Mhm.
That's a big one. I think they do a great job explaining the market and the whole state.
Mhm.
And and we bring it down to our community and see how we're doing. I'm very big with just reading inspirational books, gratitude books. I'm always I have an audio on my phone all the time, just kind of listening to just positive speakers. Yeah.
There's no doubt. Well, yeah, whether it's a podcast or like you said, you get an Audible and want to read some. Obviously, everyone knows I mentioned John Maxwell a lot. I love
him.
his writing, but obviously a lot of top agents, they follow Tony Robbins as well for his positive. He's always a positive message. Always when you're done listening to him, whether it's for hours or 15 minutes, it's positive and you're feeling good about yourself.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go. All right. What do you do? Well, actually, I'm going to interrupt because this is my second. We're going to flip to the second half of the show here, although the second half is not going to be as long as the first half because we've been going a little bit there. But you chose to go to Engel Völkers back, I believe, in December.
Correct.
Okay. So what was it that you saw was time to make a move?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Ooh. Okay. So this is a business decision, right? I always look at my business as a business, and so I got to a point where I needed to have that different setup for my business. So I interviewed Corey, and he had the right answers. he had the right answers.
I've heard that so often recently.
For where I wanted my business to go, because you've been doing this for 5 years or 4 years at the time, and so where else can my business go? What's my future goal? What's my future plan? And then so when I interviewed, he had the right answer for me. So yeah.
I have talked to other top people that were doing really well, had teams that they brought over from their brokerage. Whatever Corey said, hopefully he is following up on that and making sure that happens for you. But they said that's exactly where they were. So I was like, Corey just said all the right things.
Yeah. No, he said the right thing, and joining and I can attest to the fact that it is. I'm enjoying the brokerage, and I can tell you, this is someone who's always available, via text, via phone call. So that's very important. So yeah. And
he talks about, because I've had him on the show back in November, I think it was. He talks about obviously Engel and Völker, they're not with the newbies.
Correct.
They're not really in the train that first 96 months, whatever. They want the experienced agent, and they want to focus on that part. But he also explained the synergy in the office when you put a bunch of producers in an office and how the energy around them is created. Do you feel that?
Absolutely. This is an office. You will not walk in and just see a group of us just chatting and talking. We are all business first. But at the same time, we're open to help each other. Right. And so there's not going to be a time where you see a top producing agent and you say, hey, how do you, and they're going to give you their open books. And that was important. Like I said earlier, I wanted surrounding yourself with people that are like mine. Right. I can name how much I make, and I want to make a lot of money.
Well, there's a lot of energy in that too. And you surround, we like to think, and when we do to a point, we attract others that think like we do.
Yeah.
But it's so inspirational walking in a room full of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like the little bit. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I'm like, what? I'm crawling.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you do this? When we have panels and meetings, that's always been like, I always have questions for the top agents. I'm like, I want to know how.
Right.
How can you do it? And they, like I said, they are open.
And then seeing them do it.
And exactly.
You're seeing them with their sales. And it's the same, the group I follow from the mortgage side and get coaching from, went to a recent event in Tahoe, and you're in this room and you got some average loan officers, but you got some people that are, 7-figure W-2 loan officers, and you want to know how they do it.
Yes.
And I'm like, one of the biggest challenges I think for agents, as they grow up, is to make that first hire to that transaction coordinator or whoever it is, to start doing some of the stuff so they can continue doing the sales, and it's not overwhelming where they just hit a lid.
Right.
And that's a huge challenge in consulting with someone who's done it.
Yes.
And now some of, obviously I'm sure the successful people in your office have 2 or 3, administrative people because of the volume that they're doing.
And you think about, earlier I said something about, again, surrounding yourself with the right people. And you asked about who do you listen to, who your motivation. And I can tell you, I'm in an office where I don't have to go far to find motivating agents,
right?
That can share with me what they are doing to be successful.
Right.
And so I don't have to, go online and Google someone and I can see what they're doing on the screen. But what if I can just sit down with you?
And when you explain to them where you're at and where you want to go, they have advice for you.
Exactly. They've done it. They've walked my shoes.
Exactly.
So they know what I can do, and they've lived it.
Yep.
So it's a better story, a better testimony, because I'm here now.
And sometimes you need that mentor coach right there to put things in perspective for you too, because I think we all see these things, and we want to obviously get to the end quickly, right?
Yes.
And the reality is it doesn't happen that way. But if you input these certain steps, which is going to bring up another subject, there is consistently, you will get there. Some will get there a little faster than others, just depending on whatever they're happening in their world. But these people have done it. And they can tell you the success of whatever thing they were doing consistently, or things they were doing consistently that got them there, that shortened that learning curve.
Right.
Where it took them years could only take you months, because they're and they want to tell you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's the key. They want to share with you. It's not a layer. I need to, it's someone who's willing and open to share with you.
So it sounds like, I'm sure, all the people that, if I went around, the producers at Engel Völkers, all producers, is the collaboration. There's none of this, well, I can't tell Christela this because she's going to get deals and it's going to come from me. They don't think that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No scarcity mindset.
Right.
There is no scarcity mindset. There's enough out there for everyone.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And the reality of our world, whether it's loans or real estate, it's not like you're trying to capture, you pay a lot of money for a retail storefront. You want all the people to come in your store. You can only handle so many.
Exactly.
You can only handle so many. And then there will be a point, as we know, you mentioned Melissa Rick's pre-show and stuff, where you reach a point where you are at this level. Now it's like, you got to take time out to go spend some time with your boys and go on a trip or something, because you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Correct. Correct. I don't want to lose my boys while I'm, getting rich. We do it together.
Consistency.
Yes.
So let's think about, and this may have changed over your career. Maybe it changed when some of the things you were doing at Berkshire Hathaway and Engel Völkers told you. I said Berkshire. So that you do differently. What are you doing in your business today that you feel moves the needle for you? You have to do it, whether it's every day, every week. What is something you're doing consistently?
I would say I'm very big on social media. I want to make sure that message is out there. I think, like I said earlier, if real estate messages are extremely loud. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Mhm.
I look at myself as an advisor, and I want to make sure everyone understand the market. Specific, if they want to reach out to me, they can. But I put videos out there to explain the market. It's not always about come and buy a home, come and sell a home, but when you have that home, what does it mean? You know, so that's very important to me to stay consistent with sharing a different message.
Sharing value.
Sharing value.
You're giving some value. Now, some people
Yes.
might not, they're not interested in that video,
Yeah.
doesn't pertain to them,
Yeah.
whatever, but you're there and you're constantly in front and saying, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would use the term misinformation, but I think every transaction is different.
Yes.
Every buyer seller is different.
Yeah.
That some people see somebody come out and say this and they think it pertains to them
To
when
everyone.
really it doesn't.
Exactly.
You need to actually consult with a professional like yourself and hey, or myself as from the lending side, that hey, this is my situation, what's best for me.
Correct.
And that's all we wanted. I mean, if it's buying, selling a home, you get paid the same. What house, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
If it's a loan, it doesn't make the difference to us what loan you do. We like to promote everyone to have 7 pieces of real estate, like you were mentioning earlier. God, we don't like put all that stuff. That's a lot of paperwork, but we do it.
Yes.
But everyone is so different that just because you hear a little bit of information, you need to consult with professionals to see if it's relevant to you.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. You've got someone thinking about getting in real estate, or maybe they just got licensed. And what would you recommend with your years now, 5 years in the business? What would you give 3 things that you would recommend that they do from the start?
Create a business plan. If you're married, have a conversation with your spouse about how much money you need to make this successful for your household. I would tell them to stay consistent with whatever they decide. I always say real estate is really not a part-time job. So if you're gonna commit to real estate, commit to it. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to live and breathe it. You can't shut it off at 5 o'clock.
No.
You're an entrepreneur. You're 1099. You own your own business now. You've got to go. You said business plan. Breaking it down, knowing how much you need to make is going to be relevant to how much in volume in real estate you need to sell. And after,
I mean, we're talking going very macro. If you say, okay, I want to make $250,000 gross commission income, what does that mean in number of sales? So you have to have this amount here, so commit to that number. Right. If it's not there, who do I need to call so I can meet those goals? Again, I always say, have a conversation with your family. What is it that if I don't make, will make this not a good investment for the household?
Right. Or sit down with your broker, sit down with your mentor.
Oh yeah.
Sit down with that top agent and say, hey, let's work these numbers that I feel I need to make this worthwhile for. And I think a lot of people would probably say, oh, if it replaces what I was making in corporate America, I'm good. That's only gonna last a short period of time, because you're gonna want more. I guarantee it. You're gonna get excited about it, especially if you get an early sale. You're gonna be pumped up, but you need you can really get excited. And the thing is, it doesn't have to. And you agree with or disagree with me. If you stick to it for a period of time, and that could be 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, and you're grinding it, it'll turn for you, and then you are getting those past clients calling you. You've created a reputation. Thank you. That they're telling others and referring, and there's nothing more surreal than to have a customer, someone call and say, hey, Sally, who you sold her home last year to, she told me you were the greatest and I need to work with you.
Yes.
That's such a huge ego, and you get excited, and that's what I think keeps you going, is the excitement of not knowing what's under. I say this all the time. You don't know what's under the next rock that you overturn, but keep overturning the rocks. And I think you would agree. Sit down, like you said, with that mentor, with that broker, work out the business plan. How are we gonna get the number of leads that we need to get it to convert? And they'll work the numbers because those numbers are out there.
Right.
There's national statistics on how many people you need to talk to, and
in order to make it happen. Yeah.
And sticking and making that commitment. It's like, kind of like going on a diet, but a financial one, and sticking to, this is what I'm going to do every day. I'm going to come in, I'm going to get up early, or whatever it is that does it for you. Mentors.
Yes.
Who are some of the people that you have, whether you asked for advice for, or whether you cried on their shoulder for? But yeah, as we mentioned earlier, but that have been there for you, that you can pick up the phone, whether they work with you today or they're with your old brokerage, or maybe even someone who's not even in the business. Right. Who are some of the key people that you think that you've relied on in the last 5 years?
My family. I have siblings, sisters, and brothers alike. And I have to say, as a single mom, there is no way I could have done this without the support of my family. Awesome. When I mentioned the J curve, I remember we had a training we had to go through, and I'm big on training, right? And I remember not having the money for the training and calling my brother, and he said, "Here it is. I believe in you." And that was awesome. So important to me. Yeah. Or my sister saying, I can't afford my cell phone bill anymore. And she said, "Oh, no, we can't have your cell phone cut off. I'll add you to my family plan." And she did that for a year. So my family were like a rock for me. Right. My friends been available. Right. "I'll pick up your kids from school for you. Don't worry. I'm going to keep them for a couple hours so you can show this house." I mean, when I tell you the J curve got low, there was a season where I did not have a car. A very good friend of mine would say, "I'm working all day, pick up my car and go show properties, just put gas in it and bring it back by the time I get off."
It can be done.
You understand? So it takes a village, and I did. I'm so blessed to say that I had those people around me.
And it says a lot about you, how they believed in you.
Yes.
They invested in you.
Yes.
And how, obviously you made them all proud, and I assume your boys are very proud of what you do.
Yes.
And see your accolades and so forth on the social media. They like that stuff.
Absolutely. No, they definitely do. And I can tell you, I created games with my boys. It was, mommy's goal is 5 deals in a month. And so they would tell me, and if I don't have 5 deals, we're not going to Target to pick up toys at the end of the month. So we would say, "Mom, is it 5 deals yet?" And it was a pressure sometimes. And I would say, "Well, go talk to your teacher at school." Right. One of my youngest one time came home and said, "Mom," I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I'm very mad." I said, "What's wrong?" "My teacher just bought a house. Do you not do new construction?" I said, "Yes, I do new construction." "Well, she says she bought a new construction and you wouldn't be able to help her anyway." And I'm like, "Oh, well, mommy do new construction from now on. Just make sure everybody knows." But it was, they work the business with me.
Yes, that's cool. And just to tap on that new construction, do not buy a new construction home without a real estate agent.
Oh, yes.
Do not go in that model without your real estate agent. I'm telling you right now.
Absolutely.
A good real estate agent knows that contract, and if they have experience with that builder, that's a plus. Because right now, having been on that side in my previous life, you need the representation of a professional and someone who's going to go in there and not take some of the stuff they tell you.
Yes.
Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely.
What are some unique things that you do, buyer or seller, doesn't matter, that is uniquely you?
I would say closing gifts. Yeah. I'm very big at when I showing properties and talking to my clients, and I'm very big at listening to my clients' stories. And my closing gifts are always very meaningful. It's something we talked about. It's something they mentioned. So I do these signs where I'll have like a statement on there, and they'll remember we had this statement. We talked about this. So that's very big for me.
So you leave them with something that's memorable, and every time they see it, they have to think of you.
Absolutely.
All right, since we're finishing up with closing gifts, that's the end of our formal questions. I'm going to go to my 2 informal questions. And we wrap up here. We're right at an hour. What do you and the boys love to do most in Northeast Florida?
Oh, we just love sightseeing. We
Mhm.
would drive around and just go to different parks, go to the beach. We do a lot of, just fun things
Yeah.
with the boys. There's so many things
Yeah.
to do.
There's a lot of things you don't even know
Yeah.
are there. You'll drive right by them.
And we'll see them. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There was some place the other day, and I was like, man, I got to tell my wife about this little place. We don't even know it's here. Or I do see people on social media, and I have to go, where are you at?
Yes.
And it's someplace here in Northeast Florida, just some little, like you said, some park or something like that.
I love
that
the food trucks that we have around here. I love to eat. I have to say that. I love going to different restaurants, different tacos, especially individually owned,
Right.
not just
Right.
regular, but individually owned, and then just hear the story of the people,
Yes.
how you build the business, how you put the business together,
Yes.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Is it more important who you know or what you know?
Ooh. Oh man, for me, I would say knowledge. So it is what you know. Who you know will come. I think knowledge is important, and I think once you are that person with the knowledge, the people that need the business, they'll come to you.
Okay.
Maybe that's not a common answer. I don't know.
I get more who.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I argue sometimes with the people who say what, but if they don't have a good argument for it. But you are right. I mean, if you are consistent,
Yes.
and you do keep doing what you're doing, you're trying to interact with people, you will attract the people that you're
Correct.
mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more in the who, because I feel like you said, go knock on that senior agent's door.
Mm-hmm.
That's the who. They're going to tell you what you need to learn.
Yes.
That's my side of it.
Yeah.
Christela, I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This
No
was really
problem at
fun.
all. No problem at all. Wish you the best of luck on your continued success.
Thank you. Thank
Excellent.
you for having me.
Thank you.